What awaits beyond the veil? Does consciousness simply cease, or does it embark on a journey beyond our wildest imaginings? Greetings, fellow seeker, to the heart of the ultimate mystery. Today, we're venturing into one of Tibetan Buddhism's most enigmatic and transformative texts, the Bardo Thodol, better known in the West as the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Imagine a companion for your soul's greatest adventure. That's precisely what the Bardo Thodol offers. It's not just a manual for dying, it's a comprehensive roadmap for navigating the immediate aftermath of death. Prepare yourself as we step through this gateway, decode its wisdom, and perhaps gain a deeper understanding of what it truly means to be. The Bardo Thodol is attributed to Padmasambhava, a figure of legend and near-mythic status in Tibetan Buddhism. Originating from India, he's celebrated as the individual who introduced Buddhism to Tibet in the 8th century. Revered as Guru Rinpoche, the precious master, Padmasambhava was more than a mere monk. He was a profound spiritual adept, a yogi skilled in mystical practices and esoteric teachings. The Bardo Thodol arose from his profound desire to guide not only the living but also the departed, offering a path to liberation even after their final breath. From an early age, Padmasambhava demonstrated remarkable mystical abilities, earning recognition as a Mahasiddha, one who has achieved profound spiritual realization, manifesting miraculous powers, or siddhis. He was invited to Tibet by King Trisong Detsen, who sought to strengthen the country spiritually and unify its people under Buddhism. At the time, Tibet was steeped in shamanic practices and animistic beliefs, deeply rooted in the indigenous Bon religion. This diverse spiritual landscape presented challenges to Buddhism's spread. Upon arrival, Padmasambhava encountered resistance from various spiritual forces. Local deities and spirits of the Bon tradition opposed Buddhism, leading Padmasambhava to employ his knowledge of magic and tantric ritualism to subdue them. This integration of Bon deities and practices into Tibetan Buddhism was crucial for establishing a lasting spiritual foundation. Padmasambhava then established Tibet's first Buddhist monastery, Sami Monastery, and began imparting profound teachings on the mind, reality, and the cycle of existence known as samsara. Tibetan Buddhism views death not as an end, but as a transitional phase, an opportunity for spiritual liberation. Padmasambhava recognized that at the moment of death, the mind enters a unique state, freed from the distractions of the physical body, making it more receptive to ultimate truth. He understood this as a prime opportunity for liberation, yet he also knew that most individuals, upon dying, become lost in illusions and fears, hindering their chances. His mission was to create a guide that could be recited to the dying or studied during life, preparing the mind for the Bardos, the transitional states after death. Essentially, he aimed to alleviate suffering and unlock pathways to enlightenment, even amidst uncertainty and dissolution. This compassion forms the bedrock of the Bardo Thodol. He also recognized that many might not achieve enlightenment in life, viewing death as a final opportunity, and thus provided instructions for practitioners and disciples to recognize the clear light, the pure essence of the mind, at the moment of passing. The Bardo Thodol guides us through 3 primary states, or Bardos, that each soul experiences. First, the Chikai Bardo, the moment of death. In this Bardo, the soul undergoes the experience of death itself, a transition where the physical body dissolves and consciousness is liberated from its material constraints. Once this dissolution is complete, the soul encounters the primordial clear light, described as a radiant, pure, and boundless light. The clear light represents the absolute nature of the mind, a state of pure, unconditional consciousness devoid of duality, fear, or attachment. Some refer to it as the higher self, others as the solar mind. There are many names for this state of totality and infinite peace. For the spiritual practitioner, the Chikai Bardo presents an opportunity for final liberation. If the soul recognizes the clear light as its own essence, it achieves instant liberation, nirvana, and bypasses the subsequent stages of the Bardos. This recognition transcends rituals or doctrines. It's a direct and complete experience of truth where the mind perceives itself without filters or distortions. In this instant, all conditioning, karma, and identities dissolve. However, for the unprepared, the intensity of the clear light can be overwhelming. Instead of recognizing the light as its true nature, the mind may perceive it as a threat due to fear or attachment to the familiar. In this case, the soul retreats, forfeiting the chance for liberation, and enters the subsequent Bardos, facing increasingly distorted and limiting visions shaped by its karmic tendencies. Second, the Chonyid Bardo, the Bardo of visions. As Carl Jung wisely stated, gods and demons are projections of the unconscious, powerful and inescapable until recognized as aspects of ourselves. In the Chonyid Bardo, the soul exists in a state of consciousness devoid of its physical body, within a dimension where tangible boundaries cease to exist. Here, the soul experiences projections of its own mind, which can manifest as both angelic forms and disturbing, frightening visions. This Bardo reveals the essence of the mind, where everything repressed, desired, or feared emerges in an intensified form. The visions in the Chonyid Bardo directly reflect the emotional and karmic states accumulated by the soul throughout its lifetimes. They manifest in two distinct forms, peaceful visions and wrathful visions. In the peaceful vision stage, the soul is initially greeted by visions of serene deities representing enlightened and benevolent aspects of consciousness. These figures may appear as Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, or deities of light, radiating the positive qualities cultivated by the soul. The peaceful visions exude a serene presence and offer a sense of tranquility. However, for the unprepared mind, these visions may be overwhelming or incomprehensible, causing the soul to retreat and doubt the reality of the experience. In the wrathful vision stage, if the soul fails to recognize the peaceful, essential nature of the initial visions, it is gradually confronted by more intense visions known as the wrathful deities. These figures are manifestations of anger, fear, and repressed desires, assuming monstrous and unsettling forms. Importantly, these wrathful deities are not external or malevolent entities but expressions of the mind itself, reflecting the passions and attachments that still bind the soul to the cycle of suffering. The Chonyid Bardo is described as a state where the mind is liberated from physical constraints. It is a pure state of psychic manifestation, where everything is amplified. The visions that arise resemble dreams, yet unlike ordinary dreams, they possess striking clarity and vividness. This occurs because the mind, now free from the body, experiences its internal energies in an unfiltered way. Everything that was repressed and accumulated emerges with almost tangible intensity. These visions are considered opportunities for learning and enlightenment, as each represents an aspect of the self that requires integration or transcendence. Those who maintain full awareness during this Bardo can perceive that all these visions, both good and bad, peaceful and wrathful, are mere creations of the mind. Recognizing this truth enables the soul to dissolve fear and attain liberation. At this stage, the Bardo Thodol advises the soul to focus on the clear light, the primordial essence of the mind, described as a vast and pure radiance. Recognizing the clear light is key to total liberation, as it represents the innate nature of all beings. It is the sun amidst the clouds of visions, the light that remains unchanged despite all mental projections. If the soul manages to see through the visions, it can achieve enlightenment and transcend the cycle of rebirth. However, recognizing the clear light is not easy for the ordinary mind. For most, the visions are so real and filled with personal meaning that it becomes challenging to see beyond them. Therefore, the Bardo Thodol suggests that spiritual practitioners train during life to detach from illusions and contemplate the nature of the mind. With such practice, even when faced with the intense visions of the Chonyid Bardo, they can maintain their focus on the clear light and find peace. Fear and attachment are the greatest obstacles to liberation. The visions, in their intensity, can provoke deep fear, especially the wrathful deities, which represent untamed aspects of the psyche. This fear creates a sense of separation, preventing the soul from recognizing the visions as parts of itself. The soul may desire to flee from these visions or, out of attachment, fixate on some of them, especially the peaceful visions, which keeps it bound to the cycle of samsara. To overcome this cycle, the soul must recognize the visions as devoid of inherent reality. In Tibetan Buddhism, this concept is known as shunyata, or emptiness. The mind that recalls emptiness during the Chonyid Bardo can observe all visions without attachment, understanding them as temporary expressions of its own nature. The experience of the Chonyid Bardo, therefore, is not a punishment or purposeless suffering, but a phase of revelation where the soul confronts the mirror of its own mind. It is a test that distinguishes those ready for liberation from those who still require rebirth to deepen their learning. Third, the Sidpa Bardo, Rebirth. In the Sidpa Bardo, the final stage, the soul faces a pivotal moment, the choice of its next body, determined by the accumulated energy of all actions, thoughts, and intentions, what we call karma. It's as if the entire previous journey has led to this point, where what we carry within determines our next destination. Entering this Bardo, the soul has already experienced dissolution in the Chikai Bardo and confronted its own projections and illusions in the Chonyid Bardo. Now, it finds itself in a state of heightened psychic density where the desire for rebirth intensifies, driven by fears and attachments that have not yet been overcome. This desire, as Tibetan Buddhism teaches, compels the soul to seek a new body, a new form of existence. In the Sidpa Bardo, consciousness is influenced by karmic inclinations, which act as subtle imprints left by actions from past lives. These imprints function as magnetic forces, drawing the soul towards circumstances and experiences that mirror its inner state. For example, if the soul carries significant fear, that fear might guide it toward a rebirth where it will face similar emotions. Similarly, intense desires and uncontrolled emotions create a vortex of energy that shapes the kind of life the soul will encounter in the next cycle. During the Sidpa Bardo, the soul experiences a series of visions associated with the rebirth process. These visions often include images of couples in union, a metaphor for the creation of new life. Here, the soul is called to choose a new body, unconsciously guided by emotional tendencies and karmic impulses. The Bardo Thodol suggests that upon seeing these images, the soul should maintain detachment and lucidity to avoid being blindly driven into an undesirable rebirth. For those who can sustain calm and detachment, the Sidpa Bardo offers a final chance for transcendence. There remains the possibility of not being reborn, of choosing the path of liberation. This is the goal of the spiritual practitioner. Rather than being reborn under the sway of illusions and attachments, they must recognize these visions as manifestations of their own mind, ephemeral and empty in nature. Throughout the experiences of the Sidpa Bardo, consciousness feels a strong attraction to a new body, a process that, according to the Bardo Thodol, can be likened to a psychic storm. It's as if the urge to continue existing, to be once again, becomes irresistible. The choice of a new body is not a conscious one, it happens through a deep, instinctive call, where the characteristics of the new rebirth are shaped by the mind state. It's as if the next body were a mirror reflecting what the soul's mind needs to experience or resolve. This process also reflects the Buddhist belief that each rebirth is an opportunity for spiritual growth. The body the soul chooses aligns most closely with its karmic and spiritual development. However, many fail to grasp this opportunity and end up being reborn in adverse conditions, perpetuating suffering. Those who can see beyond this illusion may reach a state where, instead of rebirth, they can merge into the clear light, the ultimate essence of the mind. According to the Bardo Thodol, preparation for this final stage begins in life. By contemplating the nature of our desires and fears while still alive, we become more aware of the impulses that shape our destiny. Spiritual practices, such as meditation and reflection on death, strengthen our capacity for detachment, helping the mind remain unbound by the dramas that arise in the Sidpa Bardo. Thus, the Sidpa Bardo reveals a simple yet profound truth, that life and death are interconnected, and the cycle of rebirth is merely a continuous expression of our own choices and perceptions. By freeing ourselves from attachments, we free ourselves from the cycle of rebirth and attain enlightenment, a state where there is no more rebirth, for there is no longer the illusion of a fixed identity. The Bardo Thodol is more than just a religious text or a collection of esoteric beliefs. It's a tool for self-knowledge, a mirror for our mind, and a map for our destiny. It teaches us that death is not the end of the human story, but a portal to new beginnings. As Ram Dass once said, "When you die, there is only one question that matters: how much did you love?" In this sense, the Tibetan Book of the Dead invites us to reflect on our own lives. Are we ready for the final journey? Are we prepared to let go of everything we believe we are? Perhaps by contemplating these teachings, we can not only prepare for death but also learn to truly live. If this exploration into the unknown resonated with you, please share this video and subscribe to the channel. Let us know in the comments what intrigues you most about life after death, for the path of self-knowledge is long, and together, we can explore the greatest mysteries of existence. Thank you for watching.